So this is a jacket that I literally live in. But it belonged to an ex-boyfriend. That's.
Can you still smell him?
Notice how when she first gets to know that it's an ex-boyfriend jacket, she instinctively pulls it close. She doesn't look at the shape, fit, design, label, nothing. Pulls it close, smells it and asks, can you still smell him? Not his perfume, but him. Because isn't this what all of us have been secretly looking for? Not a perfume, but a personal scent.
Why did you keep this jacket?
Things get exchanged, but this one I really loved because it kind of became mine.
Right.
It stopped being his like after it stayed back at my house once.
You see, it's not really the hoodie, but the scent of someone's presence that makes this hoodie so special.
That Shah Rukh Khan, naam sunte hi something happens. She becomes into a red beetroot. She starts like, I was going to say flushing.
High speed.
She goes, just look at her, she's still blushing.
Stop it, please.
On some level, is that annoying as a boyfriend?
And somewhere along the way, I think we forgot to chase personal scents and just started collecting perfumes. This, by the way, is my hoodie. Just say.
He smells very good. बहुत अच्छी खुशबू आती है इससे.
I think I've said this before. I think it smells really good. Okay, you guys should just come and like take a sniff. He's superb.
So nice to see you. You smell so good.
Emily Weiss, the founder of Glossier, had once described her ideal scent as smelling like her boyfriend's cologne after he's worn it for an entire day. So that's the scent plus his hormones and skin that makes his personal scent. And I don't think there's been like a better definition of a personal scent than this.
मेरा ये मानना है कि इन दोनों को परफ्यूम की जरूरत नहीं है. परफ्यूम इनसे बनते हैं.
अरे क्या बात.
Because the goal for nobody was ever to smell like a perfume.
आज मैं बनाने वाला हूँ शाहरुख खान का फेमस परफ्यूम. इस शर्ट में उनकी फ्रेग्रेंस थी और मैंने ये शर्ट आज तक नहीं धोई. और पिछले 2 सालों में मैंने काफी परफ्यूम्स ट्राई किए एंड वो दोनों फ्रेग्रेंसेस मंगवा दिए और जब दोनों को मिक्स किया तो मुझे एग्जैक्ट शाहरुख.
But the goal has always been to smell a lot like us, just a little more unforgettable.
Having worked a lot with women as actresses, as producers, as directors, I do find them a little more sensitive, a little more nuanced. Anybody on social media finds this inappropriate, please don't. They do smell better.
If you watched part 1 of this series, we've already gotten the most problematic thing out of our way, which is BO, and achieved scent neutrality and smelling naturally hot by treating BO as a biological problem and not a sprayable one. And now comes the fun part, because if you ask me and the entire internet agrees that the highest or the top tier compliment anyone could ever receive is that
What are you wearing? You smell good.
in your raw, natural, slightly sweet, slightly flawed, unforgettably, unmistakably yourself. Because just like you cannot spray blanket your body odor, you can't and shouldn't blanket your personality with a perfume cloud, because otherwise people will remember the perfume but not the person beneath that perfume cloud, which is you.
Oh.
That's it, I'm not going.
Hi girls, my name is Isha hai, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to 5 scent universes which will help you build a personal scent of your own. The kind that does not smell like a perfume, but it smells a lot like your boyfriend's hoodie, like familiar, comforting and unmistakably yours. The kind which will quietly become the favorite memory of you in everyone's mind, and the kind that will actually get you the toppest tier compliment anyone could ever get, which is that you smell good. Not your perfume, but you smell good. So without wasting any more time, let's go.
We start with what is perhaps the most universally loved scent on the planet, that of a newborn baby. Scientists believe its warm, milky scent activates our brain's reward and bonding circuits, making us instinctively want to protect and care for it. Baby care brands quietly built an entire fragrance philosophy around that feeling, and I think the modern beauty industry has been borrowing it from ever since.
So what fascinates me the most is that the baby care category discovered the whole magic of personal scent or skin scent almost 120 years before the cool girl cosmetic and perfumery brands did.
Today, some of the most feminine beauty brands like Dove, Nivea, Glossier, Rhode are still built around the same emotional scent language of soft musk, powder, cream, clean cotton, and beautiful care for skin. The baby aisle simply got there first.
So a baby does not need external fragrance to smell better. It already does.
And maybe that's exactly what the Glossiers of the world are trying to recreate, not the smell of perfume, but the feeling of beautifully cared for skin.
Which means that all the products that were made for the baby were directly, indirectly just to complement the personal scent that it already has and accentuate it.
Again, the Glossiers are not selling transformation, they're selling refinement.
Baby skin, but better.
Baby scents are the white t-shirt of perfumery. They don't compete for attention, they quietly become your everyday smell. And they make every perfume you wear afterwards, if at all, smell softer, more cohesive, and a little more like you.
So when I was researching for this topic, I came across a 1985 article which actually spoke of how about 70% of baby powder, the talcum powder by J&J, gets picked up and used by grown-ups.
Maybe that's why these scents have quietly survived every beauty trend. From babies to grown-ups, they've remained one of the few scent families almost everyone instinctively loves. They make us feel calmer, softer, and beautifully cared for.
So a baby powder does not smell expensive, but it smells expensively cared for.
What I love about baby skincare is that it quietly blurs the line between skincare and perfumery. You're not adding another scented layer to your routine, you're caring for your skin while building a beautiful everyday scent at the exact same time. Lesser products, better skin, and one cohesive scent.
I've been using baby oils as body oils for a little over a decade now. I started out with the classic J&J,
which is the classic baby scent. Soft, powdery, creamy, and slightly sweet. It smells freshly bathed and beautifully powdered.
I think over a period of time my skin got drier, so I started scouting for options. The other most visible brand was Himalaya. I gave it a shot.
It felt richer and so much more Indian, slightly herbal, quietly luxurious, like freshly moisturized skin after a warm oil massage.
Ever since then,
Himalaya body oil has become my signature skin scent.
This is for large quantity storage, this is for home usage, this is for carrying sake.
Which brings me to one of the simplest ways to build a signature scent by choosing one scent family and staying consistent with it.
All of them have a similar packaging, there's consistency. In the same way, even their scents, if you just smell them one by one, you'll realize that it follows a pattern.
Meaning they're not trying to smell the same, they're trying to smell related. Every product carries the same scent DNA, just expressed a little differently. So the entire routine feels seamless instead of fragmented. Now picture this. A citrus body wash, a vanilla lotion, a floral shampoo, a fresh deo, and then a fruity perfume. Individually, every product smells lovely. Together, they're all trying to tell a different story.
Everything is like a loud, unrelated orchestra. In comparison to that, when you work with cohesive scented products,
everything starts to feel intentional. Your skincare stops behaving like separate products and starts behaving like a uniform. One quiet scent identity running through your skin, your hair, your towels, and eventually even your clothes.
because of my constant usage of baby oil and diaper cream and all of that, the smell has actually passed on from my body and has now become a resident smell for my clothes also.
Perfumers will also tell you there are dozens of rules about where and how to apply fragrance. Honestly, that's a little too much homework for me. I'd much rather let my everyday skincare do most of the work.
If you actually use baby care products doubled up as skincare or hair care, you are naturally collectively covered without having the decision fatigue or information overload about the temple points.
I guess I've just come a full circle. Like toddler me lived on baby oils and lotions, the adult me voluntarily went back to them. Only this time I call it my signature scent.
Hey Barbie, can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. Women have this incredible ability to romanticize entire worlds. Give us one beautiful aesthetic and we'll happily dress like it, decorate like it, collect it, and sometimes even smell like it. Barbie was one of the biggest reminders of that, which also explains one of my favorite perfume hacks of all time.
Now, you'll always notice actors doing certain things to get into a movie character. These activities are mostly physical, which means exercising, prosthetics, makeup, language learning, etc. However, one of the most powerful techniques for getting into a certain character has got a lot to do with perfume. Have a look at this.
It may sound silly to you, it's like I wear one perfume for every character because whenever I have a very strong sense of smell, so whenever I smell that fragrance, it kind of connects me every day to that character.
What were you wearing for Sanju?
I went to his house and I stole his perfume. He wears this really strong oud perfume, which is this really, again, this macho perfume, which I'll never wear in my life, which every AD on the film were like, what are you wearing, and all. But it kind of helped me to stay in that character.
Even Margot Robbie used the Barbie fragrance while preparing for the film, using it as a sensory cue to slip into Barbie's playful, optimistic headspace a little faster.
Now, this one hack itself is playful because the perfume gets stolen. It's purposeful because it's legit sensory trigger of getting into a certain someone's personality. And third, it is literally the unromantic equivalent of the boyfriend hoodie. That the moment you put it on, you get into a character.
Maybe the most powerful thing a perfume can change is not the way you smell, it's the emotional state you carry into a room. And if I had to borrow one state more often, it would be play. Not because it's childish, but because it's one of the fastest ways to make people comfortable around you. Which also makes me realize that we probably misunderstood one of the most playful human behaviors of all.
Flirting as a term seems to have found a destination just in the romantic capacity, whereas in reality, the whole premise of flirting revolves around being playful, and this playfulness is something that can massively ease out tension in some very difficult situations.
One of my favorite TED Talks describes flirting as simply using your words and actions to make another person feel seen, special, and acknowledged. I loved that because suddenly flirting wasn't about romance anymore, it was about play. Smiling a little more, holding eye contact for a little longer, being curious, using humor, making people feel lighter after they've spoken to you. You would have noticed that playful fragrances usually lean on bright citrus, juicy fruits, and airy florals. They're designed to feel fresh, optimistic, and easy to wear. Not because they're childish, but because they're childlike. And I think that's an important distinction. We tend to notice the label before we understand the philosophy behind it. Which brings me to one of the happiest fragrance discoveries I've ever made in Zara Kids. Some of the most ridiculously well-made, personality-filled and affordable playful fragrances you'll ever find anywhere.
So it might occur to you that I'm working the story backwards, but the way I even discovered Zara Kids perfumes is because of my habit of picking clothes and even shoes from the kids section.
The fascinating thing about Zara Kids is that it never feels like an afterthought. Every fragrance has its own personality, its own mood, and its own little story. And I honestly think that's the advantage of a global fashion house that understands characters just as well as it understands clothes. Which is exactly why I love using Barbie as an example. The moment this movie became a global phenomena, fragrance collaborations were almost inevitable. Today, you can walk into a Miniso and smell their interpretation of Barbie, and then walk into Zara Kids and smell theirs. Same character, same inspiration, but now comes the interesting part.
You go to Miniso and try those perfumes, and then you go to Zara and you try the Barbie perfume, which I think comes with pink glitter. It's out of the world, and because the scent, the offering, listen, forget a 9-10-year-old girl. Me at my age girl, I just went bonkers. So I have used Little Girl, Holiday Mood, and the Lion King scent, and they are divine.
In conclusion, flirting is not the problem. Playfulness isn't a problem either. We've simply forgotten how attractive lightness can be. And I honestly don't think there's a better place to rediscover it than Zara Kids.
Sticky dates. No, really. Stinky socks, dirty laundry. I don't like it. Sorry.
Lush Cosmetics has built a reputation for doing something very few beauty brands can. You don't have to see a Lush store to know it's there. You smell it long before you reach it, which is why I found it fascinating that in 2023, Lush introduced Sticky Dates as a part of its Eid collection, a fragrance built around a scent profile that sits completely outside the perfume template that most of us grew up with. Which actually brings me to this very interesting concept of having a scent library or a scent vocabulary. The wider your scent vocabulary becomes, the more intentionally you begin choosing fragrances. So instead of simply asking, does this smell nice? You begin asking, does this smell like me? And I think building a personal scent has a lot more to do with expanding your fragrance vocabulary than just buying more perfumes. So one thing that I really admire about Shah Rukh Khan is the way he speaks. Like, he's probably one of the best orator actors India has today. When he speaks, it just resonates with everyone, from a 5-year-old to a 100-year-old, from like the smartest person in the room to probably a learner. Just like SRK developed his incredible range by exposing himself to language, your nose develops range by exposing itself to different scent families. Over time, it begins recognizing combinations that feel cohesive instead of accidental. Even in fragrances, there will be 8 or 9 scents which are very familiar to us, and that's why they are famous. Now, dates have always been a part of Middle Eastern culture. What Lush did differently was to reinterpret them by blending them with vanilla, caramel, and gourmand notes that created a fragrance that feels like a warm Middle Eastern dessert rather than a conventional perfume. When the Westerners smelled it for the first time, it suddenly got very contrasting reviews because, again, just like us, to a very large extent, even they have been trained to like only a certain template of scents. Lush simply chose to believe in their scent vocabulary and trusted the fragrance. What began as a limited Eid collection eventually became a permanent range with over 33 tons of Sticky Dates produced globally. Sometimes great fragrances don't need changing, they just need time to be understood. Today, a bottle of Sticky Dates body spray costs around 4600 rupees in India. But here's the thing, real luxury is not owning an expensive fragrance, it's having the scent awareness to create something that feels uniquely yours.
मतलब ये खजूर से ऑयल बनाने का क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है?
खजूर के ऑयल से हम लोग परफ्यूम बनाते हैं। यहाँ के ऑयल को डालते हैं अल्कोहल की जगह और अत्तर की जगह, सिंथेटिक अत्तर की जगह कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड अत्तर डालते हैं कि चीज आदमी को प्योर मिले, लॉन्ग लास्टिंग मिले। इट्स गुड फॉर योर हेयर, स्किन एंड योर क्लोथ्स। कोई तरह का दाग नहीं, कोई तरह की इचिंग नहीं, कोई तरह का रैश नहीं।
So if I have to quickly explain the fragrance profile of Sticky Dates, think about a Sabyasachi store. It smells like old money met old India. There's rose, sandalwood, frankincense, khass, amber, jasmine. Every corner smelling not like loud luxury, but inherited luxury. The kind that feels less like shopping and more like walking through a beautifully preserved palace. Think about a Sabyasachi store that's opening in Middle East. It will smell exactly like Sticky Dates because it will be regional, it will be rich, insanely rich. Here the rich doesn't mean expensive, it means knowing that some of the most extraordinary fragrances are quietly waiting inside the tiny attar shops of our old towns. They have every bit of potential to become the next Sticky Dates. Hopefully, next time we won't have to wait for a global brand like Lush to remind us of their magic. Thing is, all these attars for that matter, I've seen so many people say that, oh, it's very pungent, I can't, like, I need something softer and stuff. Boss, you get yourself a chocolate syrup or a roux afza. You don't unscrew the cap and start drinking it straight from the bottle. It's a concentrate. Its job is to become a part of a recipe, not the recipe itself. Attars work exactly the same way. My favorite way of using them is by turning them into a solid perfume. Melt a little Vaseline over gentle heat, add 1 or 2 drops of your favorite attar and stir well. Pour it into an empty lip balm tin and let it cool. That's it. Now you've got a soft, skin-friendly version of your favorite fragrance that you can carry everywhere. Dab it onto your pulse points whenever you like. Smell beautifully put together throughout the day without smelling like a perfume shop. You see, sometimes the most beautiful thing a fragrance can do is to remind you that you don't have to wait for a celebration. You can become one.
Did he ever want it back?
He asked for it, and I said no. I was like, no. That's what happens in relationships. Sorry.
And honestly, do you even blame her? The rumored boyfriend happened to be one of the best smelling men in the industry. Fashion has been borrowing from masculinity for years. Oversized shirts, bold brows, relaxed tailoring, even the entire gender neutral movement is built on the idea that a little contrast makes beauty more memorable. Contrast creates character, and fragrance works exactly the same way. Women aren't really borrowing masculinity from men's sense, they're borrowing familiarity. And familiarity is never freshly sprayed, it's always lived in.
And that's exactly why a worn hoodie will always smell better than like a freshly sprayed hoodie, because the sprayed one smells like a perfume, but the worn one smells like a person.
I also think there's a big difference between smelling masculine and smelling familiar. One feels like a crisp white shirt at 8 am, like perfectly pressed, every button in place, and the other feels like that same shirt after a long day. Sleeves rolled up, the top button undone, hair slightly messy, a little imperfect, but a lot more interesting.
And that's where I think women can borrow the biggest strength that a masculine perfume has, which is not masculinity, but familiarity.
And maybe that's exactly what Emily Weiss was trying to tell us all along. The hottest masculine scents aren't the ones that announce themselves, they're the ones that quietly become a part of someone's identity. They don't smell like a freshly sprayed cologne, they smell like rolled up sleeves, a white shirt after a long day, a familiar aftershave, and a life that's happened around it. And that's the filter I'd use while choosing any masculine scent. Don't chase one that's trying to impress the room. Choose one that quietly becomes a part of you. The same way we used baby scents, not as a perfume, but as second skin.
Now we all have had our hoodie memories and the scent that comes with it, but just like the scent, it's best to keep it as a secret.
My 2 cents on this? Please stop chasing celebrity scents. You see, applying the same kajal as Kareena won't give you her eyes. Doing Pilates won't give you Katrina's body. And wearing the same perfume as SRK will never make you smell like him. Because what you're really attracted to was never just the perfume. It was the person. Their habits, their grooming, their confidence, their voice, their effort, their life. A fragrance can complement a personality. It can never become one. And here's the best part. A familiar masculine scent doesn't always have to belong to a partner. It can belong to your dad, your grandfather, your brother, your best friend, anyone whose presence has made you feel safe, seen, or simply happy. That's because fragrance is not really about romance, but it's about memory. We all anchor ourselves to little things that make us feel a little stronger, a little calmer, a little more ourselves. Sometimes it's a picture, sometimes it's a song, and sometimes it's a smell.
If I talk about the masculine fragrance that has eternally lived with me, it's my Nana's aftershave, which is Old Spice.
Old Spice doesn't smell like a trend, it smells like an old school man with young blood. Grounded, dependable, quietly confident. The kind of man who works hard, keeps his word, and never feels the need to announce himself. He probably posts one gym picture a year and then disappears back into real life.
So my Nana was a very simple man. I somehow don't remember him ever applying fragrances or anything. But he used to be very ceremonial with his daadi karne ka session. So I think it's called hajamat in Gujarati or Hindi. And he will just ceremonially put everything, like shave his face. And then he'll like nicely take Old Spice and he'll apply. And I will just look at him that.
And here's exactly how I'd wear it. Not as a perfume, but as a skin scent. Just like we did with the baby fragrances via skincare. Well, aftershaves are meant to quietly become a part of you, not announce themselves. Wear them so close to your skin that nobody identifies the fragrance. They simply wonder why you smell so incredibly familiar.
So that scent sort of has just created so many memories of me asking him questions, him telling me stories while doing his daadi. Many years later, like every time I'll miss him, I will always have like an Old Spice fragrance around me because it just reminds me of all the stories that he's told me. So much later, I think most of my high school years and in college, I shaved my legs. So I always used Old Spice as like an aftershave. In fact, the first time I shaved my legs, I emptied like half a bottle and I smelled like Old Spice until like 5 kilometers away.
Diptyque, and I mix it with Dunhill, which you don't get normally you have to go to a store. You will still not smell as good as me because when it mixes with my sweat, the sexiness that comes out of it, both Dunhill and Diptyka are wanting to bottle my sweat.
In 2017, skincare and beauty brand Glossier introduced its very first perfume, You. And from that moment on, modern perfumery got quietly redefined. Instead of trying to make every woman smell identical, Glossier built a fragrance that changes ever so slightly with the chemistry of the person wearing it. The perfume was not meant to replace you, it was meant to reveal more of you.
Over a period of time, it just got so insanely popular because, again, neck of boyfriend's t-shirt philosophy just got loved and embraced so much that as per stats, there's like one bottle of Glossier You that gets sold every 20 seconds. Imagine.
Please remember, never use perfume to solve your BO. Watch the first part of this series before buying another perfume. It teaches you how to remove BO, clothing odor and internal odors to reach scent neutrality, the foundation of smelling incredible. I'll link it below. Solve BO first. Perfume comes, if it does come, much later. Also, please stop chasing longevity. Your body chemistry will almost always outlast your perfume. Instead of hunting for stronger fragrances, just carry your scent in a lip balm tub as a solid perfume and reapply it.
So you remember the dating app analogy wherein women want to listen to voice notes and really seek men who are funny. In the same way, men really want to know what a woman naturally smells like. And you know, if you just go down all these threads and comment section, you will see men just begging women that please smell natural. Of course, you also need to be hygienic while smelling natural.
You see, being funny only works if you can read the room. Otherwise, the joke either falls flat or gets you into some serious trouble. Fragrance works exactly the same way. So before you reach for a perfume, read your body first. Are you on your period? Have you skipped your hair wash? Is it your clothes, your underarms, or are you just simply stressed? Solve the right problem first, then choose the right scent. And don't overcomplicate it. If you're on your period, lean a little more towards familiar masculine scents. If you're feeling low, take a shower and let your comforting scents do their job. Keep a tiny baby powder or baby lotion in your bag. Let skincare double up as fragrance. Keep the areas that matter clean, dry and comfortable. Tiny habits like these will do far more for the way you smell than another expensive bottle ever will. Because people rarely remember a perfume, they remember the way you made them feel. And scent just happens to be one of the fastest ways of getting there.
Someone had written it in such a cute way that by blanketing yourself in like those heavy floral scents, you women are denying me the access to know you as intimately as I would want to know you.
Maybe that's why fragrance has quietly reaffirmed my faith in doing things in person. As ironic as that sounds, considering we're talking through a screen right now. You see, a screen can tell you what's trending, but it can never tell you what something truly smells like. I think that's also why dating apps keep adding voice notes, prompts, and every new feature imaginable. At some point, a screen just runs out of ways to tell you who someone really is. Humor needs timing, chemistry needs presence, and scent, well, scent needs a nose. So if you ever find someone interesting, spend a little less time stalking their profile and a little more courage saying hello. The worst that can happen is an awkward conversation. The best that can happen is a memory. And that's true for perfumes as well. You can watch 100 reviews, but until you smell it yourself, you'll never know if it belongs to you. Some of the best things in life simply refuse to happen through a screen.
And through this video, my objective was never to tell you that 10 trending perfumes, 5 I cannot live without. No, I don't have a single deodorant. You don't really need to have scent or perfumery as a separate category. If you're someone like me, you can actually just collect memories and just live with them and just smell incredible without really putting any energy being like a trend perfumer per se. And always remember, in a world full of Instagram faces, each person is looking for like that girl who's slightly raw, slightly funny, slightly awkward, slightly misjudged, slightly everything else.
So stay scent neutral. Don't let the weather, hormones and a bad mood ever come in your way of smelling like your absolute best.
You know, I've always been fascinated by this term called best kept secret, which is so hard to keep in today's times, considering each one of us seems to be in like a race to overshare and advertise our lives on the internet so that we feel better about ourselves. In all this madness, there still exists secret conversations, secret relationships and affairs, and many other things that only at best remain between two people. And the intimacy or the privacy of this thing makes everything about it so hot. Scent is one of those very few things which often remain known only to the two people who exchange it or share it. And that's where I'm leaving you with the other part of the boyfriend jacket, which might just tell the other side of the story as well. I'll see you in the next one.
But I'm going to ask you something and I want the answer in a song. When I'm sorry, Raman sir. When I'm lonely and in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Marry me, marry me, marry me, marry me. Tell us what you're worth, sweetheart.
इस सवाल का जवाब गाने में नहीं, वर्ड्स में भी नहीं होगा.